You know, I've mentioned before on the show that Ralph and I don't not necessarily believe in all the stuff that spews out of our mouths on this, the things that we report. We find it all very interesting, and we like to research it, and we love reporting it. But we don't necessarily believe in all of it. But we do believe in extraterrestrial life, visitations here. And the reason for that is because, as we mentioned on our previous show, we've had personal encounters with these things. And another thing that we happen to believe in, because we have had personal experiences with it, are ghosts. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Conspiracy theories, the paranormal, UFOs, aliens, and all things strange and unusual. This is Black Lotus. So yeah, let's start this out with you, man, because you had a funny little incident when you were a kid.
Oh,
when you were a little kid.
Yeah, it was funny. It's funny now when I look back at it, but it was terrifying as a kid. Okay, I was young. I was probably like 5 or 6, I would think.
Were you?
Yeah, I was that young. There was this old abandoned church. You know, of course, old buildings are always considered, you know, ooh, the spooky thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, I remember it's where all the little bums had hung out there and stuff like that. But there was this steps going up to the door of the side of the church. And we were out there playing, and we heard a knocking. Now, this church is boarded up, I mean, solid. Reason being is because the bums would like to hang out there and try to get inside and live there.
Okay.
So it was solid that you could not get in.
Really?
And we were hearing knocking coming from behind the door.
To the front door of the church?
But it was a side door.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was up like 3 steps, and there was a little platform and little wooden step type area, and you went up there, and you'd knock. You go, and you'd hear back.
Really?
It's like, oh my God. Now I'm freaking out. Like I said, I'm young here, okay? I'm freaking out like, what the hell is going on? So I go running home, and I get my aunt and tell her that something's going on. There's a ghost over there. And so my aunt comes with me, and my Aunt Pia, and she's real laid back, really a great person and stuff, but she got fooled too, because she went over there and she hears us do this. And it goes back, and she's like, oh my God, there's something in there. That's when we hear the laughing.
Nice.
Yeah, there were some kids underneath the steps, and it was a little wooden area. It looked
Oh,
like it was all enclosed.
There
but
other kids?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to tell me it was one of the bums.
No. It was kids. But they had found a way to get underneath the staircase, even though it was all boarded up. And we're sitting there and messing with our heads.
Little bastards.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you know, speaking of knocking, when I was a kid, my family lived in a mobile home, one of those double wide mobile homes, you know, white trash as you can get, I guess, you know. And anyway, so there were a couple of instances that happened there, and the first one I'll tell you about was with Ralph. This is back when I was I guess maybe about 17, 18, something like that.
Yeah, cough, because it was a lot of years ago.
Yeah. So we were walking down the hallway from my bedroom, and I remember I was taking the trash out, and the hallway led into the living room, but there was a side hallway there to go out the back door, and that's where I was headed. So I go down the hallway, and I turned left into the hallway to go out the door, and Ralph continued on, like into the living room. And next thing I know, he threw himself back up against the wall in the hallway, and he goes, "Oh my God." And I turn around and I go, "What? What happened?" And he said, "There's somebody in there." Well, I looked, and I didn't see anything there, but you said there was somebody there. It's not there now, but there was somebody there in that chair. And I said, "We need to get out of here and talk about this outside the house." And I remember taking the garbage out, and I didn't even go back in. I just locked the door. And we got in your car, and we went out to some parking lot, a store parking lot. And I said, "Okay, I feel better now." So tell me what happened. The reason I had to get out of the house was because I had a girlfriend about a year prior to this, and she and Ralph never had even met at this point. And she saw the same thing. And so anyway, I asked Ralph what he had seen, and he told me we had one of those velvet golden chairs. You know, you got to understand, this is back in the early 80s. You know, one of those
leftover pieces from the 70s.
Yeah, you know,
kind of trying to be 80s.
Look kind of like a throne, you know. And anyway, so what he told me that he saw was he saw a guy in a tuxedo, and he had dark hair, and he was slumped over the chair like this, and the guy had blood dripping from his head, like he had a bullet shot, a bullet wound. And I went, oh my God. I said, you know what? The same thing happened to my girlfriend, Teresa, about a year ago. And the chair at that point was in a different room. It was in like the family room. And but she had seen the same guy.
Sitting in the same chair.
Sitting in the same chair, but this time he wasn't slouched over. He was sitting up proper with his legs crossed, and but he did have the bullet wound in his head, but he was smiling at her. And so I thought, you know, that's really weird. And then, you know, I told my mother about it, and my mother she never believed in any of this stuff, you know. So she was like, oh yeah, right, whatever. But then I had an incident lying in bed one night, and I heard, like you were saying, about knocking, and loud knocking right next to my head on the wall, and scared the hell out of me. But it only happened the once, you know. But I remember in the morning, I said, were you and Dad up doing something last night? She goes, no. I said, were you hammering or something? She said, no. I said, right next to my head, which was actually, the headboard was up against the bathroom. But it was loud. It was like that. And I told my mother about it. She says, you know, I thought I heard something last night too. And I said, but you still don't believe this place is haunted? She goes, no. You know. So,
why don't moms believe?
You know, I don't know. I mean, maybe they do. They just don't want to scare the hell out of us. Maybe that's what it is. But I was older. I was like, I don't know.
Well, like at that point, you didn't believe already anyway. What did it matter if she said it was or not?
Exactly. Because everything that came out of my mom's mouth was a God's truth. You know?
Yeah.
But anyway.
But yeah, my mom's house, I had a lot of incidences in
You
too.
did. You
Yeah,
did.
That one, that was probably... What's strange too is, you know, most people when they have haunted house experiences, they have it in a house that's like, you know, 100 years old.
Yeah.
No, I don't have it. I have it in a brand new house.
Yeah.
I lived in a brand new tract. In fact, when we moved to California from New Jersey, we spent 6 months in a hotel while the house was finished being built. The whole tract was... We were one of the first people in that whole tract to even be moving into that area. So it wasn't like there was an old house there. I mean, there could have been originally.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. You know, I mean, residual from some other time. You know.
So a lot of things have happened in this house. The first thing that happened, I remember, was I had a ring that meant a lot to me, and I had lost that ring. And now, it was in my bedroom, and then all of a sudden it disappeared. Now I had been searching for this ring for months, and then all of a sudden, without any warning or nothing unusual, I was walking through the living room, the room that no one's allowed to go in, except if we have company.
Yeah.
And I see something in the corner of my eye flash, and there's my ring sitting right in the middle of the living room rug. Now, okay, so maybe it had fallen off and I had lost it, and then, you know, that's where it ended up, and I just didn't notice it before, you would think. But there's no way, because my mom had vacuumed that carpet at least, she would vacuum that living room at least once a week to make it look
Well,
nice.
you think maybe she put it there?
Why in the middle of the rug in the living room?
Oh, in the rug. I thought it was on the table.
No.
Oh.
Right, like in the rug, in the middle of the living room.
Really?
Sitting on the rug.
Huh. You know, and the other thing too is, I mean, you had a younger brother, and normally I think I could explain that away, but you know, your brother threw it there. But your brother didn't come across to me like that kind of kid.
He didn't do that type of stuff. Yeah,
he wasn't mischievous.
He stayed with his own.
Yeah.
You know, he kept to himself and stuff. So no. So, but I had always, that house always was creepy. There was always movement out of your eye. You'd see white shadows. You'd see dark shadows. You always felt like people were watching you.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was in the bathroom, and this is one of those bathrooms where it has like a room and a room, and the first room is like the sink and the cabinet and the medicine cabinet and stuff like that, and then there's a door, and then the second one is the toilet and the tub.
Okay.
So it's like there's a door and then that and then another door. So it's two doors. So I had locked the first door. The second door I left open, so I can get out of the shower and go to the sink. Well, just before I got in the shower, I had noticed there was a can of mousse. I had almost knocked it over, picking something up before I would take in the shower, and pushed it back towards the mirror to make sure it wouldn't fall, or I wouldn't knock it over. Went in and started showering. And all of a sudden, I hear BAM next to me, and right next to the shower, where the door was laying the can of mousse. It had somehow flown itself through one room into the next room and hit the far wall in front of the shower.
So like somebody would have
forcefully
picked
thrown
it up
and forcefully thrown it. Of course, the doors are still locked. There's no way anybody came in. In fact, I was alone in the home at the time.
Yeah. I remember that incident because I remember you coming over to my place and telling me, you got to hear about this. Yeah, I mean, you were pretty shook up.
Well, yeah, like I said, we'd seen shadows, and I'd seen shadows, and other people have too and stuff, but that one was like, yeah, now things are happening.
Yeah. In that bathroom, I remember I had a girlfriend back then. Her name was Jennifer. And hi, Jennifer, if you're watching. We're still friends. But we were in, actually, your mom and dad were gone. Your brother was gone, and you had a party there. I think.
Toga.
Was it the toga party?
Yeah, I think it was the toga party.
And anyway, she and I were in bed, in your mom's bed. And we had both fallen asleep. And evidently, she had gotten up and to go use the bathroom, which is that bathroom that was kind of attached to your mom's bedroom. And I was still asleep, and next thing I know, I vaguely remember this actually, but I mean it was so long ago. But she was screaming, and I remember getting up and running to the bathroom, and you came running down the hallway, and evidently she saw. It's always a woman in white. It's these ghost stories are always a woman in white or a kid in white or something, and but yeah, she said that she saw a woman in white there, like in the mirror or something.
It doesn't surprise me with all that I've seen, and like I said, and that had happened in that house. And I've seen light shadows and dark shadows. So I think it's pretty safe to assume there was something evilly and more poltergeisty and something more protective.
Yeah.
Because in fact, there was an incident with Kat that she had come over and was. I don't remember what we were going to do, but anyhow, she was sitting in the living room waiting for me to finish getting ready to go out, because it took me a little longer back then because I actually had hair that I had to do something with. Hair down to here, in fact. But she was sitting on the couch in the living room, and over the living room fireplace, which was right directly in front of her, was a nagel that was hanging there.
A what?
A nagel, print of a nagel.
Oh, print of a nagel. Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
And she was just sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear this big loud crash.
Okay.
And I go running in, and she's sitting on the couch like this. Just like in total shock. It was like her eyes and her face said it all, like, what the happened?
Yeah.
And what had happened was the picture had fallen and slammed straight down onto the fireplace mantle. Well, not the mantle, the part in front of the fireplace. Not the mantle's up on top, but the ledge. And it was stone, so it shattered the glass.
Oh, wow.
Now, that on its own is like, oh, so it slipped, something happened, whatever. The nail was fine and everything, so I don't know how it slipped. But the fact is that when it hit and the glass broke out, it broke out like in a funnel, so that there was a spot from the fireplace in a triangle around her where there was not one shed of glass.
Oh, wow, really?
Like something had protected her from any glass coming anywhere near her.
Really?
I mean, everywhere else there was little pieces, but that one area right in front of her, not a speck.
She's a guardian angel.
Yes. I'm thinking the lady in white.
It could be. Yeah.
You know, so, but like I said, there was also the dark ones I'd see, and There is the head incidences.
Oh God, that thing. I am so glad you left that back in Maine.
Yeah, I am too, to be honest with you. I don't know. I swear that thing was cursed, and I didn't know how to decurse it or get rid of it, so I decided just to let it be inherited by the people that I was staying with in Maine, unknowingly left in a closet somewhere.
So yeah, he had a ventriloquist dummy head. And it was just the head. It wasn't the whole dummy.
Yeah, I lost the body. From when I was a kid.
And I remember you had it sitting on like a Cylon kind of thing, like a road Cylon kind of thing, a cone. And
yeah, it was one of the long, thin ones that they have. It fit perfectly in that.
And the thing would move. It was creepy as hell. And I don't know if anybody actually saw it move. I think Jennifer told me that she actually saw it move once, but I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me if someone actually did, but
the thing was creepy to begin with. I mean, it was weird looking. And then, so I remember being in your room, and I would go over and turn the damn thing around because I didn't want it staring at me. And we would be sitting there in your room and talking, and then I'll turn back and look at it, and the thing's staring at me again.
Right.
And then neither one of us had gotten up during this time. So, I mean, it was weird, man. The thing was possessed. I swear to God, it was possessed.
And many people had noticed it because, I mean, my house was the place to hang out at that time when we were young, and I had a couple chairs and the bed, and everybody would be sitting there, and the thing would be against the other wall. Nobody had gotten up from there, and it would still turn around.
Yeah.
One time, Kat didn't like it and put it under the bed, and we all heard it growl.
Oh, really?
Because she said, I'm done looking at it. I kept threatening to send it to her to get rid of it, but...
But you had a few of the weird things that happened in that house, and I remember, like, again, going toward the end of the house where your mom's bedroom was and that bathroom there. It was always a very creepy feeling there, you know?
Right in that area.
And honestly, I'm surprised that I haven't had more incidents. I do have one other incident. I lived in a haunted house in Minnesota, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I'm kind of sensitive to...
You're a snowflake?
Yeah, kind of a snowflake like that. I mean, I'll feel something if something's around, you know, but I won't necessarily see things. But I did see something here in this house where we're at now. And it's in that area that from our hallway that leads into our living room. And I'm not the only one that's seen anything. And what I have seen is like a shadow person kind of thing. You know, I see somebody hanging out over there, and it's just out of the corner of my eye just for a split second, but I see it a lot. And in fact, I just saw it the other day.
Right.
And
saying that.
But I remember my stepdaughter had a boyfriend for a while, and he was over here with his little daughter, and they had dinner here. And we were sitting at the dining room table, which is, you know, kind of part of our living room. And she kept looking over toward the door. And I said, "Sweetie, what do you see over there?" And she says that there's a man there. Well, chills went down my spine. I'm like, "There's a man there?" She goes, "Yeah, he's just standing by the door." And I look, there's nobody there. And I said, "Well, what is he doing?" She says, he's just standing there. I said, "Well, close your eyes for a minute, see if it goes away." So she did. And she opened her eyes and she says, "No, he's not there anymore." You know, so I mean, there is something here. I don't know where it is, and it doesn't bother us. You know, it's not as though it's a poltergeist kind of situation, but I'm convinced that there is definitely something.
I've
here.
Only seen like movement out of the corner of my eye, thinking that there was someone standing there, type of thing.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually seen anything here. But I have felt something. We've heard stuff like. The other day we were sitting in the kitchen and we swore we heard the cat meowing from behind at the end of the house.
But I think they were the neighbor kids screaming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but
they were on the pool.
I had an incident though where I saw the cat sitting in the hallway and then all of a sudden it was in front of me.
Yeah.
And I also had an incident where I felt the cat, you know, she likes to rub against your leg. I felt her rub against my leg and I looked down and there was nothing there and I looked and she was nowhere near me.
Yeah, I think along with whoever is hanging out here, I think that there is a cat because I've had the same incident, you know, and I felt the cat jump up on the bed and I'll look and there's cat's nowhere to be seen.
I think there's an animal spirit here.
Yeah, it very well could be, you know.
But
so anyway, you got something else too, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Like
This
when you
one's another one from high school.
Oh.
Okay, this is with Kat Richardson. And for those who don't know who she is, or might know who she is, she's an international bestseller with the Grey Walker series.
Yep. Yep.
Great series of books.
We had her on the Pop Views show.
Yes, we did.
And she was a delight to talk to.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed talking
Great
with her.
interview.
I've never met her.
Well, I went to high school with her, so
Yeah.
that's how we ended up getting her. So it was very nice.
Kind of lucked out.
Yes. Anyhow, her and I and another friend, Marcy, and we were playing with a Ouija board back in high school. And we're stupid. We were kids.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry, I won't touch a Ouija board. He knows how I feel about Ouija boards now. I don't like them. I don't want them in the house. I don't want them near me. Because we were playing with it, and we were talking to a spirit, and supposedly, and oh yeah, it said, we said we were gonna have a party, and we're gonna bring us the board with us, so we can all talk to you at the party, and it told us not to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
What did we do?
Oh, of course.
We're kids. In fact, not only did we do that, somebody was that Marcy that brought it? I don't remember. Somebody brought graveyard dirt with them too.
Oh, really?
I'm like, oh, that's gonna help out. So we're all at this party and everybody's having a good time, and we were in this pop out of this party, or this house rather, and it had like panels that were like 4x4 of plastic that was like that milky colored plastic.
Okay.
And it was pulled all nice and tight, but it wasn't plastic. It was like more like do you remember those pop-out windows you'd put on vans in the 70s?
Yeah,
It was more like that material, where it wasn't really hard, but it wasn't really plastic.
Yeah.
It was kind of like really thick plastic, I guess. Anyhow, flexible plastic. But she had, the whole thing was a wall of these windows. And we were about to take out the Ouija board, and all of a sudden we hear this bang. And as we look up, we see every one of these panels, and I would say there was at least 12 to 24 of them, if you count the ones that are up on the roof. They all bowed in and bowed out. Now, this is not plastic that the wind's going to blow like
Yeah,
this.
right.
Would take somebody pushing it. Not only that, to make it bow like that, you would think they would break. They did it all at the same time, too, so it would have taken a football team to actually do it all. Needless to say, we put the Ouija board away, and I never touched it again. In fact, that Ouija board did end up in that fireplace that we previously talked about.
Did you?
Yes.
Did it?
Yes, it did. And it screamed, and it burned, and it went away. And I have since then sworn off of Ouija boards. In fact, we talked to Kat about that, and she had forgotten about that incident, but then when she remembered, she was like, oh, yeah, that was kind of creepy. I always wondered if it had influenced her books, but...
Yeah, who knows? I've never really had a problem with Ouija boards. I think they're beautiful, actually, Yeah, so I don't know. I've never really had any kind of negative experience with it. I mean, I remember doing it, playing with them when I was a kid, and invariably somebody's moving the damn pallet around, Planchette, I guess it's called a planchette. And but yeah, I've never had a weird incident, but I know a lot of people have had weird incidents with these things, but I've never.
I always believed it was just your subconscious nerves tingling as you're moving it. You cannot keep your hand perfectly still. It's very hard.
Yeah.
And if you notice, even me trying, I always have nerve shakes anyway.
I believe that you do emit energy from your body. So I mean I think that's there could very well be some semblance of telekinesis there.
But after that incident, I beg to differ anymore.
Yeah.
It's like okay. And these are three people, or the three of us. There's two people that I trust, and that especially this late in the game where we've talked about it and still all thought, oh my God, no one's come forward and said, it was me pushing it around.
Yeah, right.
But the incident at the window with the windows was.
Yeah, how are you going to explain that?
Then.
I mean, and like I said, it's not as though even a big gust of wind wouldn't necessarily do that. Right. But.
I don't know. I have a habit of falling into haunted houses. I guess.
You had something happen at the mobile home where you used to.
Yeah, I did. I bought a mobile home when I was young. Younger. Anyhow, I had been told that this house was haunted, that someone had died in it, and that actually the person had died in their bedroom where I slept. and he was found with a vibrator dead in his bed.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, okay.
What a way to go.
I don't know if they were just telling me this just to try to be cutesy because they knew I was gay, whatever. But, you know, and I no one had ever seen anything. That this had just happened, I guess. So I was there with a roommate. Now, I was in the bedroom on one end, and at the very far end of the other end of the house, of the mobile home, there was another little bedroom with a little bathroom.
Okay.
And I had a roommate that stayed there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I hear my roommate walking around, and you know, I go, you know, I'm like, you've been up the last couple of nights walking around, you know, having trouble sleeping? And he's like, I thought that was you up walking around. So we're like, no, and sure enough, we still kept hearing footsteps. Yeah. There was somebody walking up and down, right again by the back door bathroom. There was a little hallway that went to the main bedroom, and then there was the living room and the dining room, excuse me, kitchen, and then the living room, dining room area, and then the other bedroom. And we were hearing it walking up and down the halls like it still needed to try to get somewhere. Very, very crazy. Weird. We always saw all the weird things in that house. My friend Paul, who was living there for a while, he saw a demon sitting in the bed one day.
A demon?
Yeah, like a really horned, like the way he described it kind of reminded me of what is the name? Grout. I am Grout.
Oh, okay.
It kind of looked like that type of thing.
Groot.
Yeah. I couldn't remember his name. We went from Ghost to Groot, okay? So, but yeah, so I'm pretty sure that house was haunted. Yeah. That there was something there. It's gone now. They demolished that house after I left. So.
Did they? Yeah. Probably had to.
Yeah.
From the story, well, from the stories you've told me about the wild parties and shit that you had.
They probably had to demolish it just to get rid of the weed smell from the neighborhood.
Well, I lived in as I mentioned, I lived in a haunted house in Minnesota back in 2001. I had just moved to Minnesota and moved in with who eventually became my wife, and her name was Rachel. And we lived in a house in Bloomington that was an old house, a very, very old house. And they had converted this house into 3 separate apartments. And so we lived in what they call the garden level apartment, which is a fancy word for a refurbished basement, you know. And, but yeah, there was weird things happened there. I remember I was vacuuming out of the bedroom into the hallway, and I felt something touch my shoulder, and I turned around just in time to see this black mist. I don't know how else to describe it, but it was like a black mist, and it was there, and then it disappeared. And I was like, what the hell is that? I remember once Rachel and I were sitting in the living room, and we had a coat closet that was right next to the front door. And when you open up the closet, there was another little cubby in the back of the closet, which was extra storage, and it had a little door on it. And I remember sitting there watching television with her, and we would hear this scratching coming from that area. And when I would walk up to it, it would stop. And I said, what the hell is that? And she goes, I said, do we have a mouse or something? She goes, no, that's the little boy. I said, what do you mean that's a little boy? She says, we have a little boy that lives in that closet. I said, not seriously. She goes, no, it's a ghost. And I said, well, okay, first of all, don't do that to me. I said, secondly, why didn't you tell me your house was haunted? She goes, well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily haunted.
You have a ghost boy living in your closet. It's not haunted?
Yeah. So anyway, I remember opening up the closet and looking toward the back, and there was no sound. You know, I mean, like I said, every time I got close to it, it would stop. And then I shut the closet. I went to go sit down again, and I wasn't sitting there for 30 seconds before I'm hearing scratching. And you know, I had looked inside that cubby. There was nothing in there. There's no possibility it would have been a mouse or something in the wall or anything like that, because, yeah, I don't know. And when you walked out of our door, like I said, it was a refurbished basement basically, and so there was a staircase that led up to the front door, but across the hallway there was another room. It was a laundry room, and it was like communal for all 3 apartments. And that place always made me feel twitchy in there. I mean, and granted, the lighting wasn't all that good in there, and I think that may have had something to do with it. It made me a little jumpy. But there was one time I was in there doing laundry, and I turned, and you know how I said that I saw that black mist image? Well, I saw it had a little more structure to it this time, but it was a guy hanging from the rafters there. And so all these, you know, little incidents like this. And one time we came home and she had one of those. Do you remember that game, You Don't Know Jack?
Yeah, I love that game.
And she had the electronic version, you know, it was one of those little console things. And she had it stuck up in that closet, that coat closet. And we came home one evening and we opened up the door, and suddenly from the closet you heard, "You don't know Jack."
I bet you jumped.
Oh, yeah. So I looked at Rachel. Rachel looked at me. She goes, I don't have batteries in that thing. I said, "Oh, come on." You know, I mean, when I had first moved in, she had a roommate living with her. And I said, maybe she put batteries in it. We got the thing out. No batteries in the damn thing. Yeah. So that was weird. So anyway, so I got so interested in this thing that I actually went to the town hall and I looked up the history behind this place. And evidently, it was back in, I think it was like 55 or 56. There was a family living there in this house, and it was a site of a double murder-suicide. Wow. He had killed his wife and killed his son, and evidently he had abused his son, and reports were written about how he had locked him in that closet.
Wow.
And so, yeah, so anyway, he eventually shot both of them and then hung himself in that, in the basement. Yeah.
That's creepy.
Yeah, it was weird, man. I mean, I like I said, I still get chills just thinking about the place. I was so happy when we moved out of there.
Oh, I bet.
Oh my God. Yeah. That place was evil. Just evil, you know.
Has Terry seen anything in this house?
I don't think she has. She said, she told me that she had an incident that happened with her when she was young, but she said she barely even remembers the whole thing. But no, I don't think she's seen anything here, you know. But I kind of get the feeling that she's not one of the people that are very sensitive to these things, you know. I mean, yeah, so.
Interesting. I don't know. I can't say that I don't believe in ghosts. I can't.
No, I absolutely believe in them, and I don't think all of them are malicious, and they're not there to scare you. It's like the thing that's in this house. I don't think it's here to scare you. I mean, it's never done anything malicious. You know, no, like as I said, no like poltergeist activity. You just catch something out of the corner of your eye, or you feel something. You know, and so I think that's what a lot of ghosts are. I think a lot of spirits, I mean, it's just, what is it? It's just
residue.
It's residue. It's energy. You know, so I absolutely believe in spirits.
And I think I think there's good spirits and bad spirits.
Oh, like anything else. Absolutely. Yeah. I truly believe that.
Everything has the yin and yang.
But, you know, they're not all there to scare you. But speaking of scaring, we need to scare up some grub for dinner.
Sounds
so
good.
We need to get out of here. So, folks, until next time, keep thinking and question everything. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe and click that little bell so you can get a reminder every time we upload a new episode.